Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of my 97 Jeep Cherokee project. So, today I was going to do the airbag system replacement, but I ended up having less time this weekend, so I'm just going to go over something with the engine that I ended up fixing, and then I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on one of these things. Simple day, but maintenance that needs to be done. So in the engine bay, one thing that I somehow did not notice until the other day was that the coolant line that goes all the way around here past the fan and there was just not there. The coolant container is still missing the plastic cap, but I'm sure I can find one of those for probably free at the U-Pull. So I noticed coolant dripping down underneath the Jeep, and so when I popped the hood I noticed it was missing, and I got this tube at AutoZone. It's nothing specific, it's just 6 feet that would fit, and I zip tied it, and then at the very ends I used the hose clamps, and it's all good to go. So for an oil change you'll need an oil pan or some kind of bucket. You need some shop rags of some kind. This isn't necessary, but it's a puller for an oil filter and it makes it a lot easier. You'll need a socket set. You'll only need one socket, and you'll need a filter. If you go to your AutoZone or whatever, you can look it up in the book, or they'll tell you by looking up on their computer. A funnel is another thing that's not fully necessary, but is going to be very helpful. Then you'll need the oil. I've got the 4.0 inline 6 in this Jeep, and it takes 5W30. So I usually get 3 and don't end up using them all. So first thing, if you're going to be working under your car, safety first, put on that e-brake. So to see if you need to do an oil change or the condition your oil's in currently, use the dipstick, pull it out, and you can see mine was pretty gunky. On the dipstick you'll see that it says add, safe, and don't overfill, and so once you've cleaned it off you can put it right back inside the dipstick thingy majig. I'm sure that has a word. You pull it right back out. Here you can see that I have a safe amount, but it is pretty brown, and it was even worse yesterday. I just added a little extra fresh oil because I was a little low. So next you're going to want to find your old oil filter in the Jeep XJ. It's going to be right in the back underneath the dipstick. It's in a much worse spot than my Jeep WJ was, but I know that the 4.0 wasn't supposed to be in the XJ. So once you're underneath the Jeep, you'll find this towards the front, right underneath the engine, and it has this big bolt. You're going to remove that, but first you're going to make sure you have the oil pan right underneath it to make sure it doesn't spill out. You're going to need a 16mm socket for the bolt. So you're going to get your ratchet on there and try to loosen it up. I found 2 problems with this pretty quickly. One being that I have noodle arms that are not strong, and that the guy that put it on before put it on extremely tight. So I'm going to use my handy dandy breaker bar. If you ever can't get leverage on something, just use a pipe of some kind and you'll be able to get it to pop, just like that. After a few turns, you should be able to get it done with just your hands. Make sure it's not too hot, and you're just going to slowly pull it out, and then it'll spill out. The oil ended up overshooting, and I had to move the pan real quickly because it got all over me. After a few minutes, it'll start to just drip like this. Not super intense, but it's going to be doing this for a while, so you might as well clean up or do something else while you're waiting for this to come out. So I got the filter puller thing on there, and I wasn't really able to get like any room for leverage from the top, so I decided to do it from the bottom, and I just kept going at it, and it slowly but surely I was able to get it to just move a little bit. Once I got it to stop being so stupid tight, I went back to the top and unscrewed it just by hand from there. Make sure you got a good grip on it because it's slippery and you'll make a bigger mess. To give the new filter a little easier time getting on there and suctioning, you can put a little oil around the gasket. It doesn't seem like the oil filter wants to go back in through the top, so yet again, going at it from the bottom is going to be a little bit better of an idea. Once you got it in there from the bottom, you can pick it up from the top and just start screwing it in hand tight. Once it's hand tight, you can get the filtered puller thing around again and use that to tighten it. While from the top you might not have enough leverage to loosen the original one, you will have enough to use that to tighten it properly, because it's going to be hard when your hands are all oily. And voila, just like that, your oil filter is installed. And then you're going to take the bolt, you're going to put it right back where you got it. Do it hand tight at first, because this is not the kind of thing that you want to strip. Go ahead and clean up that excess oil, and then go at it with the ratchet. Now you don't have to go all Hercules with it, but tighten it enough so that it won't leak and that you won't have trouble getting it off next time. You're going to take this cap off the top of the engine, because that's where you're going to pour the oil in. You're then going to use the dipstick to see how much you still need to put in there. Funnel's not necessary, but I like to use it so that I don't make as much of a mess. You're then going to pour your oil in. I like to do like half a gallon at a time, just so I don't overfill it. It's not necessary. You're going to use more than a gallon, but it's still good to be safe. You're going to let the oil settle for a few minutes, and then you're going to go ahead and check the dipstick. Clearly that shows I need to add a lot more, so I'm going to put it back in and keep going. You can go ahead and check it again, and here you can see there's a lot more added, but I still need to add more to be safe. So while this bit of oil settles, I'll take that empty bottle and fill it up with the old nasty oil to dispose of it properly. So as you can see here, the oil is now at a safe level. It isn't quite at the very end, which I'm going to do just because I want to be a little more satisfied, but yeah. And just like that, I fill it up. I actually went a little bit over the safe line, but nothing that's going to hurt it. You're then going to take the cap from the top of the engine and just twist that back on. Hear that pop, and just like that, you've changed your oil. I ended up driving the Jeep to the park and back just to make sure it wasn't leaking any oil while it was driving, and here I am, and it's doing perfectly fine. Before I left, I made sure to run the engine a little bit just to get it going, and then I've been driving around, it's already feeling a lot smoother. Well, that's it for today's episode of my 97 Jeep Cherokee project. I know it was something simple, just changing the oil, but I hope it helped somebody. It helped me, so bye. Tune in next time for more Jeep content.